I'm a senior here at Union High School, and I'm also the secretary of the National Honor Society. I would now like you to stand for the presentation of colors by Union High School's AJROTC. And please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and the National Anthem. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States and Mrs. Bush, accompanied by Secretary of Education, Laura Cavazos.
Mr. President and Mrs. Bush, welcome to Union High School, one of the... You didn't let me finish the sentence. One of the finest high schools in America. Mr. President, as you walk around this school, you will see what might be the most advanced television studio found in any high school in the country. But this complex audio-visual equipment is nothing, Mr. President. In honor of your visit, the students are building out by the parking lot an all-weather, computer-enhanced, high-tech horseshoe pit. And they're building it without federal funds. We are here together today to discuss one of the biggest challenges that America faces. That's improving education. 3 years ago, the nation's governors proposed sweeping changes in our public schools. We thought there had been enough studies. We thought there had been enough reports. And so we had entitled our particular study, The Time for Action. So Governor Bill Clinton and I of Arkansas, and then Governor Lamar Alexander of Tennessee, and myself met with Education Secretary William Bennett, and we talked about how to draft a strategy to get action in the schools. Together, we chose 13 of our report's recommendations, ones that we thought most likely to be achieved at the local level. We also agreed that 8 of the governors who had been the driving forces in the report's development, should each select 2 school districts willing to innovate, to try new approaches in their schools. In effect, we asked these schools to become informal laboratories of education reform. We promised them broad flexibility to establish effective programs, help in eliminating the many roadblocks to reform, and whatever technical assistance, consultation, or referral services that the Department of Education could provide. We did not promise them any extra money for their new programs. We did not because everybody involved in this endeavor believes that major reform must begin at home with the same kind of conditions that everybody has to deal with. We don't believe the federal government can create excellent schools. Neither can governors or the state create excellent schools. But communities of school leaders, superintendents, principals, teachers, parents, citizens, they can create excellent schools. The school districts we chose to be part of this unique partnership are as varied as we could find. They're big and they're small, they're urban and they're rural, they're rich and they're poor. The schools in these districts include every condition, and they include every challenge that's facing American education today. In fact, these school districts have only two things in common. They all have strong leaders with a greater than average commitment to improving schools, and they have supportive teachers, and they have great community support. The time frame for this project runs through 1991. That means it's too early to make final assessments as to its success. Instead, our visit here today is really a status check of the important work that's in progress. New Jersey takes great pride in being part of this unique and promising undertaking. I'm tempted to tell you about the good things that are occurring in Union and Paramus myself, but the best source, obviously, of information about the progress of project education reform are the superintendents themselves, so I'd like, if I could, to call on four of them. The four I'm going to call on are first Dr. James Caulfield, superintendent here in Union Township. You want to wait till I stay over? Second, Dr. Harry Galinsky, superintendent of the Paramus School. Third, Dr. James Wilsford, superintendent of Orangeburg, South Carolina School. And fourth, Dr. Edgar Melanson, superintendent of the White Mountain Schools in New Hampshire. Dr. Caulfield, will you begin?
Mr. President, Mrs. Bush, Governor Kane, Mrs. Kane, Secretary Cavazos, honored guests, colleagues, parents, and students. I visit 100 classrooms in Union annually, from pre-kindergarten through full-day kindergarten through grade 12. 500 over the past 5 years, 1,000 over the past 10 years. What I am witnessing is success for a growing number of our children. This is what education should be all about, in Union and in the nation. Yes, it is time for results, or should we say high time, or about time for results. And children are succeeding to a remarkable degree in Union and among our 16 model districts. First, because we are holding ourselves accountable. Every child in Union is tested every year, and every year we analyze those tests and target instruction to areas of weakness and carefully, lovingly coach our students past the math hurdles and reading hurdles. Second graders in Union now read at the 4th grade reading level. Our dropout rate, less than 2%, is achieved because we never give up on a child or a young adult. And we offer our students choices, roads to success, like television technology and computer training, cosmetology and chemistry, robotics and auto body, ROTC and advanced physics. We do have a captive audience here among the group. Rigor, Mr. President, can come in many forms. Success and self-image and values can be instilled on the playing field, drill field, lab, and through internships in hospitals and senior centers. The context is different, the children are different, but the outcome is the same. Graduates who feel good about themselves and are emotionally and mentally prepared to succeed on the job or in college. We have high expectations for our students and ourselves. We will not tolerate violence. We insist on high student attendance, over 93% daily. We enforce the rules with vigor. We teach by example. Staff attendance is over 96% daily. The magic is board support, administrative leadership, staff dedication, a fair compensation plan, and a careful eye on the dollar. Per pupil cost in Union is the lowest in the county. Successful districts, and R16 are very successful, run lean but find ways to get the job done. For example, in Union, we receive over $100,000 per year in revenue from leasing excess airtime on our TV channel located atop the Empire State Building. We do long for less regulation. Tell us what to do, but let us do it in our own way and hold us accountable. Mr. President, I want to thank you for visiting Union. It has been the most exciting event of our lives. Thank you.
President and Mrs. Bush, Governor and Mrs. Kane, Secretary Cavasso, honored guests. Every year, parents send us the best kids they have with the hope we're going to do something positive with them. Project Reform has involved a group of superintendents who've been very creative in finding ways of helping these kids succeed, despite many rules and regulations that have become obstacles to finding solutions to complex problems. They are truly educational bandits. In fact, there are many more like them in every state, including many who are in this audience today. We all look to you to find ways to unleash the enormous creative talent that exists in public schools. Too much time and precious resources are being wasted dealing with a growing list of legislative mandates. Please take some chances on districts in every state that are proving that they are getting results. Give more flexibility, and you'll see evidence of dramatic results. That was what this project is all about. Many of us believe that this issue is more important than money. Forgive me, my colleagues. Speaking about results, we're excited about what's happening in Paramus with our early childhood program for 4-year-olds and our full-day and modified full-day kindergartens. We're seeing dramatic results with a high school dropout program that's produced the dropout rate of 1% or less. Paramus has been creative. Paramus has been creative in involving parents in the instructional programs. Parents are involved in a Books and Beyond reading project that has produced a 70% drop in TV watching and an increase of over 80% in leisure time reading. We're now involved in a family science project that will absolutely gain national attention. We also have the challenge of educating a school population in which over 20%'s primary language is not English. They represent over 50 different languages. And our ESL program is producing dramatic results with them. They all graduate, and many of them are going on to college. So we have a successful program for those kinds of students, which we treasure very much. But good things are happening in many school districts in New Jersey. We've been very fortunate to have 7 superb years of leadership from a true educational governor, Tom Kane. And a bright and courageous Commissioner of Education, Saul Cooperman. Now we're excited to know that we can look forward to the support and leadership of an educational president. Mr. President, since you chair the deregulation task force as Vice President, I'm sure you can understand the importance of eliminating barriers. President Bush, we're counting on you. Thank you.
President and Mrs. Bush, Governor and Mrs. Kane, Secretary Cavazos, the students of these two great high schools, and the citizens and the parents that are represented here, I bring greetings from South Carolina. Thank you for this opportunity. Secretary Cavazos' theme of expectations, success, and accountability can be seen in the lives of Orangeburg, South Carolina students. Orangeburg is a city of 20,000 people in central South Carolina. The school district is 6,600 students, not unlike Union in that regard. The school population is 80% non-white, and 70% of the students, white and non-white, are poor enough to qualify for free and reduced price breakfast and lunch programs with the Department of Agriculture. With these demographics, one might expect low achievement and high dropouts. Not so in Orangeburg. In 1978, only 14% of the students scored above the national average. In 1988, last year's testing, 57% of the students scored above the national average. And so it's easy for us to agree with Secretary Cavazos when he talks about access. Our achievement does not come from pushing students out of school. In 1983, our dropout rate was 32%. That's about what you read about in the national media. Now it is only 6% over the 4 years that students are in high school. Before I left, I had the dropouts checked for this year. That's one way to do it, you know, is check yourself. 25 students out of 6,600 could not be accounted for last week. And we'll try to find those 25 students. We believe, as Secretary Cavazos has stated, that we must ensure access to quality education for all students. We also believe that all children should be educated to their fullest potential, as he has also stated. Let me tell you about one of our students, Jonathan. The name is fictitious, but the events and circumstances are real. Jonathan, a kindergarten student, wrote me a letter last week on his classroom computer, a 5-year-old, 60 months old, using a classroom computer. He thanked me for the Writing to Read program. That's access. He hoped the first graders were doing their homework. For a kindergarten student, that's expectation. Jonathan scored low enough as a 4-year-old on a readiness test to expect that he would be at risk to not read as a 6-year-old. But because of these programs, the all-day program for 4-year-olds, the all-day program for kindergarten students, 5-year-olds, Jonathan and his peers are reading and writing before first grade, and they are computer literate. If they fall behind later, they get extra help and additional services. We believe, with Secretary Cavazos, that all children should be educated to their fullest potential. And so children who start behind or who fall behind are caught up immediately, as Governor Kane and the governors said that they should be. The Orangeburg program reaches each student in each grade level with many programs too numerous to mention. These programs are exciting, but the results are more exciting. For when I walk into a first grade classroom, I see excited, literate, confident graduates of the year 2000. And with the help of an educational secretary, we're going to see that they're the best we've ever had.
Mr. President, Mrs. Bush, Secretary Cavazos, Governor Kane, Mrs. Kane, honored guests, greetings from New Hampshire.
The information age, an age of rapid change, uncertainty, definitely new technology, is a relatively new happening, and yet today, 35% of the U.S. business world is committed to computers and information movement. It is said that for the class of the year 2000, 90% of the jobs in which they are to be employed do not exist at this time. We are preparing our children for a most uncertain future. Education is being challenged as it never has been before on many fronts. However, here in New Jersey, as it is in my home state of New Hampshire, property taxpayers are defeating school budgets in alarming numbers. In New Hampshire, the state ranked 50th in state aid to education. Local property taxes, for the most part, finance education. This is local control personified. Yet New Hampshire, in a period from 1986 to 1988, through a program developed by former Governor John Sununu, you may have heard of him, Mr. President, entitled The Governor's Initiatives for Excellence in Education, made available to school districts in matching dollar grants, $2 from the state for every $1 matched by the local school district to buy computers for teachers. My school district, the White Mountains Regional School District, has provided a complete computer system for every teacher in grades kindergarten readiness through grade 12. Teachers are issued computers and may keep them at home or in school. Due primarily to the use of computers, the teachers in my school district send home on a Friday every 3 weeks a personalized letter to parents in which a full report on every grade received on each homework assignment, quiz, exam, or lab experiment. The letter informs the parents of their child's average for the 3 weeks, their average for the current marking quarter, and their average for the year to date. This is one way in which technology has allowed for greater accountability with parents. This is clear evidence that education can deliver if we are provided the support. It seems to me that if the federal government would offer incentives to school districts with show and tell accountability proof, education can deliver. Through joint federal, state, and local effort, we will be able to demonstrate that the school systems in the United States are second to none in the entire world. Thank you.
Four remarkable people, and now you know why many of us are so encouraged. There are exciting things going on all over this country. At this time, it is my great honor to introduce Secretary of Education Laura Cavazos. When first nominating him to become Education Secretary, former President Reagan called Dr. Cavazos the best fitted man for the job. It is now very easy to see why. Dr. Cavazos has proved himself in every area of education. He is a scholar with a bachelor's degree in zoology, a master's
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank all of you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Please. Thank you very much, Secretary Cavazos. Dr. Cavazos is doing an outstanding job as our Secretary of Education, and I'm so pleased he came up here with me today. I want to pay my respects to your governor, who has been a great inspiration to me, not just in education, but in many other ways. And when I think of the governors across this state, no one has a greater claim on doing a lot for education than your own Tom Kean. He has been outstanding, and I'm delighted to have him here today. I want to salute the 3 members of Congress who are here today and those who are actively involved. I know some are here who are actively participating in the political process, Democrats and Republican alike. You have a governor's race up here, and several of those candidates are with us, and I want to congratulate them and say to the young people here, I hope when you finish school and then go on and finish your education that you will save time for public service and participating in politics. So let's welcome those who are not only our members of Congress, but others who are so participating right here with us today. And of course, I listened carefully to the 4 superintendents who were selected to represent the point of view of the superintendents, and I can understand why. There's a great new hope in the United States today for quality education. They did an outstanding job, and thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very, very much. Now, you can't help but when you come here and walking into the building or being here in the room, you can't help but feel that you don't really have to worry about the future of our young people. I see staunch advocates, met with some dedicated professionals and determined students who know what an education in America can be. And today is about excellence, and I'm told that the brightest and best achievers, many of them in the school level, are right here in this room. But it's also about hard work. And I wanted to mention a little visit we had on the corner with one of Union's own, Gina Marie Cisco. She wrote me a letter. It's a surprise I got the mail. It's the way it's working these days, but nevertheless, she said, I'm a resource room student for math and English, and I have a learning disability. And there are many kids like me. She goes on, and we all have to work harder than most kids. But she said, work harder than most kids. Union is showing you their best in intelligence, but Union also has the best in trying the hardest, like us kids in resource room. So it's excellence. It's excellence, and it is hard work. I'm delighted that Barbara Bush is with me today, and she got a good, clean bill of health yesterday from Walter Reed Hospital, I might add, and then but I'm taking another look at our doctor. He told her it's okay to kiss the dog. No, it's okay to kiss your husband, but don't kiss the dog. So I don't know exactly what that means. No, America can be the very best in education. I know a few skeptics have doubted that. For instance, somebody once asked Mahatma Gandhi what he thought in general about Western civilization. And he said, I think it would be a good idea. You know, this nation was founded by people who sought out unexplored frontiers. At first, that meant, as you history students know, perilous ocean crossings. And then the West in the United States offered the challenge of vast new uncharted lands. And recently we found new directions in space exploration and astrophysics, taking us to the farthest reaches of the universe. We've always taught our children about these frontiers. They're part of the American worldview, part of our idea of human progress, part of our picture of ourselves. But we must now draw the attention of a new generation to a larger, almost limitless horizon, the frontier of the mind. Our goal for education must be as ambitious as it's been for the West or for space or for any other American frontier. And we have a new manifest destiny to develop America's young minds to their fullest, because if we lose the mind and we lose the spirit of even one young person, we will have lost something precious forever. Many of our students are among the best in the world, and I'm told many right here in this room fit that description. But too many. Let's hear it for yourself. You got it. But all aren't so fortunate, and Barbara knows this because of her dedicated work for literacy. Too many still graduate unable to read their own diplomas. Too many don't get the skills they'll need to fill the jobs for the future. But let's not forget that, as well, that there's a lot that's right about American education, and we heard from 4 superintendents that spelled that out loud and clear right here today. So how do we build on the good and eliminate the bad? The way to do it is with people like you in this room, through partnerships at the state level, with the National Governors Association, teachers, administrators, parents, private industry councils, local businesses, and then the students themselves. And by thinking ahead, by working creatively, we can build a culture of high expectations. We can open up the frontier of the mind to every kid who enters a classroom. And you know, somebody once asked Mae West what she wanted to be remembered for. And she said, everything. Well, my goal is a little more modest. But I do want to be remembered, as Secretary Cavazos mentioned, as the education president, someone who used the bully pulpit of the White House, the bully pulpit of the presidency of the United States, to help you all improve American schools. And my ideas about education are based on 4 principles, tapping the kind of creativity that's already at work in local communities like this one. First, our administration will reward excellence through awards to schools that demonstrate significant improvement, rewards for good teachers, and God bless our teachers, and a new scholarship program for outstanding math and science students. Our schools have always recognized athletic excellence, and that's great, but it's also good to hear about groups like the Montrose Academic Booster Club and the Presidential Academic Fitness Awards, which reward excellence in scholarship. Some of those winners are with us today. And second, we want to promote flexibility and choice through magnet schools and by removing some of the over-regulation of education. And I listened to those superintendents as they called for regulatory simplification. We seek alternative certification for good people who want to teach but are now kept out of the classroom by needless regulations. And we're considering more school-based management to give the local control that you heard these superintendents call for. This government will in no way, the Washington administration will in no way try to dictate curriculum. Let's not get too experimental. I worry that somebody's going to produce a new age Hamlet. And the famous oration will start like this: to be or what? We don't need to set the curriculum in Washington, D.C. It's better done right here. And third, we want to help those most in need, targeting federal resources, restricted and limited though they must be in these days of budgetary deficit, targeting those where they can do the most good. And we want to waive some of the regulations for the poorer communities, allowing them to pool state and federal funds in exchange for higher accountability and performance, a kind of performance-driven, partial deregulation of education, if you will. And we'll give you the flexibility, and you show us the results. And I bet they'll be outstanding. And fourth, we need to promote accountability in education for everyone, and that means teachers, yes. We want to work with educators, how to objectively and fairly measure results. But it's much broader than that. The problems our schools face won't be solved by assigning blame or applying a puff of smoke here or some bolt of lightning there. Only a united effort can lead to the kind of education reform that lasts. And this means that all of us are accountable for the quality of American schools. And that means business leaders who understand that their ability to compete depends on the quality of the new talent that they help develop, and who set up outstanding public-private ventures like the SciTech Center in Liberty State Park, where students will learn about science and engineering, but in a hands-on way. Accountability also extends to superintendents, who can create a clear mandate for improvement and gain support for their priorities, and parents who get involved through programs like Books and Beyond in Paramus, where reading at home to the kids has cut time in front of the TV by over 70%. Or the very, very important Parent Award to Jersey City parents who get involved with their kids' local schools. And there are other unexpected sources of untapped talent that can help improve our schools. In New York City, where thousands of volunteers are helping in hundreds of schools. My wife Barbara met with a group helping Cambodian children learn English. And while she was there, one older lady told Barbara how desperately lonely she had been until she volunteered. And her eyes filled up with tears, the memory, and her face lit up as she told Barbara, "I've never been lonely a day since." Helping others made this woman's life have so much more meaning. One need matches another, and a wonderful thing happens. You come up with an answer that money simply cannot buy. And that's one reason we need to rely less on the collective wallet and more on our collective will. A society that worships money or sees money as a cure for all that ails it is a society in peril. But we're not that kind of people, and we must do more than wish we had more to spend, because the challenge of education reform suggests something much more fundamental than money. As a nation, this may surprise you, but as a nation, we already spend $330 billion a year on education. And that's more than we spend on national security, on defense. We devote more money per capita to education than any of our most advanced competitors. That includes France and Germany, Great Britain, Soviet Union, and Japan. A billion here, a billion there, as Everett Dirksen once said. It all someday, pretty soon, adds up to real money. Well, one lesson I learned in school is that sometimes there's more than one right answer. More spending isn't the only right answer or even the best answer. What we need is a better value for what we spend. And what we need and what this conference is all about is a shared determination on the part of every American to get involved with our schools. We must reestablish the value of teaching and learning in this country. Like every new landscape we've explored in American history, the frontier of the mind will be won by individuals of courage and determination. And you know, frontier stories are full of tales about brave individuals, so let me just share one little story with you that I heard, a study, if you will, in determination. This week, I heard about a young woman who'd been poor and on welfare all her life. And she enrolled in a program for pregnant high school girls in Memphis. And things were going fine until the last day of the exams, when she realized that her baby had other plans for her that day. And she wouldn't leave. And she took her last two final exams in the nurse's office. And only then did she let them rush her off to the hospital. And she made B's on the two exams. And she had a boy. And she'll graduate in May. And she's landed a job at a university with child care, where she's also going to take classes. Now, if the rest of us can summon even a fraction of that kind of courage against the odds, we can make sure that every young American gets a solid education. Good schools in America are a social responsibility, and yes, in this competitive age we're living in an economic necessity. And we share the conviction that there is no such thing as an expendable student. We will never accept the notion that vast numbers of illiterate and undereducated Americans can be offset by a well-educated elite. That is not the American way. You know, every young American deserves the best chance, and I'm asking you to join me in renewed determination to help this generation and every generation develop and triumph in the frontier of the mind. Thank you for what you are doing, and thank you for what you will do, and God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
This has been, to me, a very, very exciting day. We've heard from great school leaders who are making changes which will affect the children for as long as we can possibly foresee. We've heard from Secretary Cavazos, a great education secretary, and for the first time in my political lifetime, we have a president who is going to lead the way in education. I would now like to present, for a memento of this visit, your own United States Congressman, Matt Rinaldo.
Thank you very much, Tom. Mr. President, Mrs. Bush, Governor and Mrs. Kane, Mr. Secretary, welcome and thank you very much for coming to my hometown. Union is not only proud, as you heard, of the educational accomplishments of its students and teachers, but of our great record in sports as well. Union teams have won state championships in baseball, football, and many other sports as well. And Mr. President, we couldn't find your old first baseman's mitt from Yale, where you were captain and an All-American. But on behalf of the people that I represent in the Township of Union, I want to present you with a baseball cap, a glove, and a ball as a memento of this visit. And I'd like to read the inscription on the cap. It says, "Number 1 citizen, Union, New Jersey, 7th District." the glove built up a little. The real thing is down in Washington. It's a first baseman's mitt and a ball. But so that everyone can see what it's inscribed on it, I want to hold it up. It says, President Bush, Union Schools, a great team.
All right. Can you design that yourself?
Pretty much.
Thank you all very much.